Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Great. I only played the original Ocarina of Time for its suggestive themes. A man living in darkness can give your whip power, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society gives your whip power with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, and then on Thursday, Splatoon month officially kicks off with our discussion of Splatoon Raiders. Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. I can't believe we're in Splatoon month.
It's already Splatoon month.
We're both wearing our lab coats.
Here's the thing, and it happens, that's right, because we're from the Squid Research Lab, and it happens every year where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Splatoon month already.
I know. It really sneaks up on you.
I was like, I thought it was just Labor Day.
But it's not.
It's not.
No.
That joke scan, I always forget where Labor Day is. Labor Day is in
September.
It's in September.
Yeah.
So it was just Memorial Day.
Yeah, that's right.
That scans.
Yeah.
It's, for whatever reason, those two holidays, I will never, like, I know that they are basically at the beginning and the end of the summer. And I just, which one is which,
Yeah, I think that's fair. We have so many Nintendo facts we have to keep straight.
That's true.
Like, there's only so
Plus
much room.
Beaumont Kin.
Right, plus Beaumont Kid. There's only so much room in our brains.
Right, yes. And our brains are exploding.
Or oozing.
Hey, speaking of ooze, I've got a book today that is out, a book that is out today.
This is really cool.
That is about ooze and about mutagen. I'm talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Anatomy of a Mutant. The reference book that I wrote is out today. It's about all of the mutant characters and some non-mutant characters in the world of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, the current ongoing series. It is like a 250-page book. That's the way people would express that, right?
Yeah, 2.5.
250. Full of original art by Matteo Santaloco, who is a genius and a Ninja Turtles legend. This is something that's been in the works for like 18 months now, maybe even longer. And it's out.
Yeah, so exciting. When you were working on it and when the art was initially coming through, I got a sneak peek of a little bit of it, and it is incredibly cool looking.
It's incredibly cool looking. Like I said, Mateus is
and the words in it are incredibly cool,
right,
too.
Right, yes. Mark, I was showing you some of the words, and you were like, no, only the pictures. No, because I am the way I am, I injected like a lot of narrative into this, one of the things that like I feel like I pick up from video games is like you can always weave narrative into stuff that looks like just like background art or what have you. Anyway, it's out now. I'm really proud of it. So if you are at all interested in that, if you have a Turtles fan in your life, I would recommend checking it out wherever you buy books.
So cool. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Also, we're just plugs up top, I guess. The patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you go over there and you are supporting us at the 8-bit or 16-bit level, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the Movies.
Yes, where Patrick, myself, and usually a special guest are going to the movies together and then talking about that movie. We just released an episode about Spider-Man Brand New Day with previous guest and friend of the show, Mikey McCaller.
Yep, great time. Mikey was back to reprise his MCU performance from last year when we talked about Fantastic Four First Steps. I think we all enjoyed this movie quite a bit more than Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and then just like a week before that, we released an episode about The Odyssey. So it's boom times over at NCS at the Movies.
We won't stop talking about Tom Holland and Zendaya and John Barenthal.
That's a guarantee.
That's right.
But if you go over to the Patreon, there is content available at every level, including the free level. So go over and check it out. There's no reason not to.
Yes. And then also no reason not to do this either. You can join our Discord. All you gotta do is email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And I will send you an invitation. You pop in the Discord. Mike, welcome to the Discord. Just popped in there this week. So it's just as easy as that. I know we've talked in the past about how maybe it's a multi-step process, but it is not complicated.
No, the steps are so easy.
The steps, each individual step is so easy, and collectively it's an easy process.
That's right.
And then, do that.
Yes. Also, I have a debug.
Okay.
Okay, so
This is an important one.
It is, because last week, I think, we were talking about the release of the Resident Evil amiibo.
Yes.
The Grace and Leon amiibos representing Resident Evil Requiem. And we were talking about the Leon amiibo, and I was going on and on and on about, like, why would I need an amiibo of a man with a gun?
Yeah, and it's a good question. Why would you need an amiibo of a man with a gun?
But it's irrelevant, because Leon is not holding a gun as in amiibo form. He's holding a hatchet. Which makes so much more sense.
Yes.
And also would fit in so well with my shelves and shelves of men with hatchet.
You do have
figures,
a lot of men with hatchets.
Yeah.
That is true.
But anyways, yeah, silly to be like talking so much about it. And then I actually looked at a picture and was like, huh, he's actually not holding a gun. So there you go. Egg on my face.
That now raises the question to me, and I'm looking up one possible spoiler here. Is there an amiibo that holds a gun? And I mean a gun.
Right.
I don't like a Splatoon.
Not an arm cannon.
Not an arm cannon, and not a Splatoon weapon.
Yeah, I would guess no, because whence would that come?
I just looked up Solid Snake.
Uh-huh.
Pretty good,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
that's possible. I do not believe he has a gun.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
That Nintendo would be like, hey guys, do whatever you want, but please.
Right. Hatchet? Sure.
Sure, fine. But
like,
please no guns.
Let's not do a realistic looking gun. And I think that's a good choice.
Just like I think probably none of the amiibo are like bleeding, right?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. All of the Kirby amiibo have guns.
Oh, right. Other than Kirby.
Right,
But,
of course.
Like, Kirby can get away with anything.
I mean, honestly, though, this is a question I'm genuinely interested in. If any of our listeners have or know of an amiibo that has a gun, like in its hands, right? And it has to be a realistic gun. It can't be like a splatter shot. Doesn't count. Twin dualies don't count.
Yeah.
It's got to be a gun.
Yeah.
Then I just want to know, because if Leon doesn't have one, who would?
Yeah, I really think the answer is nobody. But anyways, it's embarrassing to be going on and on about Leon with a gun, and then
for him
the
to
taniest bit of like
only a
research would
hatchet.
have revealed for it to be not true.
I do think it's funny that like they must have run up against that problem, right? Of like, I mean, basically all he does is shoot. Like, we can't have an amiibo of him like suplexing a zombie.
Well, luckily in Requiem, it's like,
yeah,
the hatchet is. I mean, luckily in Requiem, the hatchet is. He has it all the time.
Yes, although they could also like give him a chainsaw too.
Yeah, they could.
Are there any amiibos with chainsaws?
We have to wait. We have to wait for the Resident Evil 4 remake to be brought onto Switch.
Yeah,
too.
there we go. Because then they will release the Chainsaw Sisters as amiibo. Those would be good amiibo. Okay, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. I suspect we will not want to talk too much here, because we have both been playing Splatoon Raiders, and that's been the majority of my game time.
Yeah, me too. And we're going to kick off Splatoon month on Thursday with an entire discussion about Splatoon Raiders.
Yeah.
I rolled credits on Splatoon Raiders and have gone a little bit beyond that. And I'm really excited to talk about it. I mean, we talked a little bit about it last week, and I had a great time with it. And we'll obviously get into a lot more detail on Thursday.
Yeah, but it is definitely like the kind of game where like some of our early impressions I feel like are going to be just sort of like blown out a little bit in our main discussion. Like, it doesn't to me, the game doesn't have like a ton of surprises in it. It just like kind of iterates on itself in like a satisfying way over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I generally speaking, I think that's true. I think some of the things that I was talking about last week, like really being stuck on the tactical tank,
yes.
And like only using big man and like choices like those in the very beginning, the game is basically like, why would you do that?
Right. Yeah, and it actually does a really nice job of incentivizing you to use the other tanks. Like, every level has a thing that you can do 3 separate times with like the different tanks. But yeah, I think it's good. I'm excited to dig into it more later this week.
Yep.
All right, that's enough for that. But what we've been playing, let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Okay, first we'll check in on Nintendo Music. And last Thursday, we got tracks from 5 Virtual Boy games. Is this the first time Virtual Boy has been represented
Yes.
in Nintendo Music?
Yes.
So we got tracks from Mario Clash, Galactic Pinball, Teleroboxer, Virtual Boy Wario Land, and Mario's Tennis.
I sort of suspect this will be it.
I think you're probably right. This seems, I mean, we'll talk about
Virtual Boy in a
Virtual
bit.
Boy, in a little bit, but this feels like the last hurrah of Virtual Boy in Nintendo Classics. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and these are all fine tracks, but like yes, they're clearly like dumping them, right? Like here are 5 games at once.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think of the Virtual Boy as having a pretty good sound to it,
I agree.
but not like maybe because I just haven't played it that much, it's not memorable or remarkable to me in this way some of the other handheld systems are.
It's like I think it's possible to be nostalgic for the Virtual Boy sound chip, but I don't think it's possible to like have it etched on your heart in the same way as like the NES or the Super NES or even the Game Boy. I think it has a better sound chip, maybe definitely than the NES and the Game Boy. And it's utilized pretty well. So it's cool stuff. I'm excited that we have those tracks there. And I'm sure that they will come up in like some other playlist that I put on at some point.
Yeah. There are like the Waterworld Virtual Boy game has at least one song that is represented very heavily in relaxing Nintendo mixes that you find on YouTube and stuff. So I guess...
But obviously that's not present here.
Not present and probably will never be because Waterworld is not going to be released on Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics.
It's so interesting that there are like just some of those like third-party games on your example here was the Virtual Boy, but like then also on Game Boy. And come to think of it, I think they're both Ocean games that just have these like beautiful pieces of music that are actually like have no right being as good, as they are for the game that they're in. I'm thinking of the RoboCop game on Game Boy. Like the title screen for that is a jam. Check it out if you've never heard it before. But yeah, why? And I guess it's just the thing of like you hire someone to write music and they've got things that they've been noodling on. They're like, I can repurpose this for the RoboCop chapter start screen. Just very, very strange.
Also, yesterday, we got more Mario Kart World free roam tracks. Last week, we were saying, have we reached the end? And the answer is no.
No. But have we now reached the end?
Dare we tempt fate 2 weeks in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart free roam from Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Tour, and Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
Yeah, I mean, with that, we are now like reaching these sort of like outer bounds of what is Mario Kart, right?
Yeah, it's true.
In the last weeks, they were all sort of like a track or two from like these different corners of the Mario universe that aren't necessarily associated with Mario Kart. There were like Mario Paint tracks and stuff like that. But surely we've got to be reaching the end of this stuff.
We'll keep saying it every week until it comes true.
Because one day it will be true.
And then today, August 4th, moving to game releases, kind of like 2, I would say, big ones. First is Big Walk, which is the new cooperative, like multiplayer discovery open world game from the creators of Untitled Goose Game that has been reviewing really well.
Really, really well.
Apparently doesn't run the best on Switch, but hopefully through updates they'll be able to improve some of the performance problems there. This is a game that seems so fun to me. There's no couch co-op. They don't want you to play in the same room. The point is not to really be able to know exactly what another person is doing at the same time.
Well, and to not really be able to communicate
outside of the game's built-in chat that has like proximity built into it. So if you're near, other players in the game, then their voices are louder, and the further away they are, the voices drop off. Anyways, this looks like so much fun. I wish that it made. I would love for this to make sense in my life to be able to play.
Yeah, sure.
It's just
can
hard to like.
Can you not just like join with randos?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because the game also does have cross-platform play. So like if you have friends on any other system, you can also play with them. Some of my friends from college that I'm on a ongoing text thread with have already said like, oh yeah, we should check out Big Walk. Big Walk has a little short hike energy to it. Did you play that? A short
Yes,
hike?
I did. Yeah.
That game is a more solitary experience and has like an overhead camera, but is similarly just about like a large space and just like the things that you can interact with around there. And I don't know, it seems neat.
Yeah, it does seem really neat. And then also today, Final Fantasy XIV is released on Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Involved all of its mini permutations that we laid out last week, and it also has like a free. I guess trial's not really a free version for you
Yeah,
to
it's
check
like a
out.
7-day thing. Is that right?
I'm honestly not sure.
And to play the game for real, there's also like a subscription on top of the buying the game itself. Yeah.
That's right. Also happening right now. By that I mean yesterday. Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo Classics,
No,
Virtual
it's today,
Boy.
right? That's
It is
the 4th?
today in. It's
Oh, I
today in
see. So
Japan.
it has
but
already
like at like
happened
6
for us.
p.m.
Gotcha.
yesterday. It happened. Virtual Boy on Nintendo Classics has been updated with its final 2 games. These are games that were previously unreleased. Zero Racers and D Hopper are available now.
D Hopper, a game developed by Intelligent Systems.
And plus the ability to change the color of the screen. So you pop out the red lenses and then
if you're using the plastic version, if you're using the cardboard version, there is no red lens.
And then you press and hold the right stick and use the L and R buttons to select a color.
Yes. Is that bizarre that there's not like a more intuitive way to, or will you be prompted with like hold in the right stick and then you can do this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with Nintendo Classics, there's a lot of that stuff that is semi-hidden.
Yeah, sure.
That you have to go searching for. Maybe when you are at like the game select screen, they'll prompt you. Or, I mean, there is all of like the button prompts,
That's
around
true, right.
all the time. So
You can turn those off.
that could just be like a permanent thing.
Something that you have to go digging for is the ability to turn off those button prompts.
But anyways, yeah. Virtual Boy is
yes.
dead. Long live Virtual Boy. This is it.
This is the last gasp of the Virtual Boy. It is August 4th as this is happening, and it launched in February.
Yes, less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months, which is about as long as the Virtual Boy's life was originally / should ever be. I don't know about you. In fact, I do know about you. I didn't go back to the Virtual Boy when the second big tranche of games came out on it.
No, and Mario Clash was one that I was kind of waiting for, but I have not gone back.
Well, and Mario Clash was even part of the Mario Day celebration in March, right? So there was the initial 6 games, whatever, then 2 in March, and then the other 5 or whatever just like a month ago maybe, and now here we are with the final ones, and I definitely want to put some time into Zero Racers and D Hopper. I think it's possible that those are real games. Virtual Boy has a handful of real games that are worth experiencing, and I wonder if these are 2 of them.
I do think that the ability to change colors will make the experience better.
I think it'll make the experience better. Do you think it makes it so much better that it's going to be like, well, I'm going to spend a lot more time on this now?
No, but I think it makes it better.
Sure. Okay, fair enough. Will you, Mark, be pulling out your Virtual Boy to play these?
Maybe the cardboard version, honestly.
Okay.
The little cardboard one, because it just seems like so much less work than getting the whole thing out.
Have you used the cardboard one yet?
No.
So just as a reminder, the cardboard one you have to hold up to your face,
sure,
with your hands, and your Joy-Con, you're holding it by the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
So you're be holding your Joy-Con up by the side of your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you remember.
I'm not saying I'm going to enjoy it, but it is the Virtual Boy experience one way or the other.
So why would you enjoy it?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna drag out the plastic thing, set it up at the desk.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of these games that I haven't tried out V Tetris yet, which feels insane to me. But yeah, it's a little bit the end of an era here, right?
It is. I mean, the Virtual Boy being on NSO was so exciting.
Yes.
As is my fashion with all of these extensive libraries. I enjoy having the thing more than I've enjoyed playing the thing.
Right.
But I also saw that in some territories, like in Europe, the cardboard version is on sale right now. I don't think the discount is that great, but there is a discount.
It's not that expensive, right? It's like $25 normally.
I think so. I think that's right.
Mark, a little over a year ago, or no, maybe it was just about a year ago. It was last year. You, me, and friend of the show, Michael C. Hearn, ranked all of the Virtual Boy games. That list is now incomplete because there are 2 Virtual Boy games that we didn't have on there.
We're going to have to go back for the 40th anniversary in 9 years.
I agree.
Tomorrow, August 5th, on Wednesday, Pokemon Pocopia's DLC Part 1, Bubbly Basin, is released. So there's the paid component of it, and then also the free update happens tomorrow as well.
Right. And the just as a reminder, the paid component of it is being launched in 3 parts. There's this one now, Part 2, it's like before the end of the year, and then the third part is 2027. And we don't the second part of the DLC, I believe, is not a new area.
Right. I think even though we don't have details, they did provide like the basics, which is first one has like a new area, second one doesn't, and then the third one has a new area.
I mean, presumably the third one we don't have a date for, or really like any even like the shape of what that is my memory. I do know that there were as many as like 6 extra areas found in like the source or like the code for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so just one of them being Bubbly Basin in the first part of the DLC has me being like, well, okay, where are the rest of these? Are we going to be doing all of them at some point? Or what's the deal? As always, I think it's a little bit skeezy to be, charging the full price for a DLC pack without being forthright about what the third part of it is. But I don't know. I sure did like Pokemon Pokopia.
Yeah, and the trailer when they showed this off showed the ability for your Ditto to like go swimming.
Yes,
and that's part of the free update, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I also saw something on The Verge. They were referring to a preview of the update that was published in Famitsu in Japan, and I haven't played Pokopia, and so I'm hoping maybe you can tell me if this is as big of a deal as they were making it out to be. But apparently one of the changes that they made as part of like the free update, not just the DLC, is storage. They've improved. So there will be new like storage items that they work like storage boxes in Resident Evil where you put your stuff in and then it'll be available universal instead
everywhere where you've got that storage box.
Yes,
that's huge.
Okay, so yeah,
because
they called that out
in the original version of Pokopia. Every box is its own storage. So like if you're like loaded up on like there are
that
many...
seems crazy to me as a design
I know, and there are tons of boxes that I have in Pokopia that are just full of stuff that I just like have no room for and no use for, right? Because you just have to like put it somewhere. So yeah, that's a huge, wonderful fix. Because otherwise you just got to go like, okay, where would I have been when I got those things? And then did I take them into the next area, or did I remember to keep it there? Just impossible.
Do you think you'll get this? You did like Pokopia so much. I'm just curious.
I loved Pokopia. I do sort of feel like now's not really the time. I'm still very much enjoying my experience with Splatoon. When I'm after we've recorded our episode about it, I want to get back into making my way through Xenoblade, because the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition just came out last week, so I'm like a little bit on the treadmill. Like I am hoping that I can finish 1, and then if I do, then I will start 2. I'm not going to beat myself up if any of these things don't happen. Plus, I got to play the Virtual Boy, so I don't know.
Totally fair. It's $35, the DLC. So this is what I looked it up. Part 2 of the this is what the website says. Part 2 of the Pokemon Pokopia expansion pass paid DLC will release in late 2026 and will introduce additional new features to help develop your Pokemon Utopia. And then part 3 is coming in 2027, and with it, a new town to explore and rebuild.
Okay.
That's all we know.
Okay, so that is a new town. Okay.
And then on Thursday, Lies of P Complete Edition is released digitally on Switch 2. I believe a physical version is coming later. So yeah, it's a like kind of busy week. I feel like we're heading into a busy time for new releases with video games in general heading into the fall. But it feels like Switch 2 is picking up as well.
Heading into the fall and heading into the like period before being in GTA 6's way.
Yeah, the crush that will be September and October.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like everyone clearing out, except I suspect Ocarina of Time.
I think so too.
Ocarina of Time, I think, is going to possibly, what do you think, same day as GTA?
They'll Barbenheimer it.
They'll Barbenheimer it, or they will Animal Crossing / Doom with it, right? They came out on the same day in 2020. And was fine for both those games. Although there's no behemoth like GTA 6, so who knows?
Right.
And then, of course, Mark, there is a Hello Kitty Island Adventure Tea Garden DLC coming out
of course.
on Thursday. I think we are honor bound to mention any Hello Kitty games, yes?
I think so, too.
All right, so that's what we might be playing. Let's close out the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Today, we are discussing the circus.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, the circus was such a cultural institution, and by that I mean like there's a lot of like children's books, a lot of media, a lot of things that talk about or that talked about the circus when we were growing up.
Yes.
But the heyday of the circus was
like
long past.
It's like the early 20th century,
yeah.
right? Or at least we're talking obviously about like the American circus.
Yes, like 3-ring, like Barnum and Bailey
stuff that you would have
brothers,
where you would have seen Dumbo learning to fly without his magic feather,
that's right.
Or where you would have seen the Flying Graysons murdered, right?
Yes, exactly. So the circus was not a big part of my life growing up. I think I've been to 2 like traditional circuses. One time when I was
we are ruling out Soulays here.
I don't know what that is.
Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's like, is that some fancy dessert? Yes. Yeah. Cirque du Soleil is ruled out.
Okay.
Like traditional circuses. So maybe when I was like 6, my grandparents took us to like a smaller traveling circus that had like a big top.
Yeah.
Maybe,
where would this have been?
Oh, geez. Probably like Utah.
Okay.
And it was maybe like a 2-ring circus, no, seriously, what I mean?
Even
like,
spring for the third ring.
Like physical, like maybe a 1-ring circus. Like it was like pretty, my memory is that it was pretty small.
I'll be honest, I don't know what that means.
I think it means like.
So is like a ring a stage basically?
I
like
think so.
A circular arena like within a tent.
Yes. And then I think larger circuses, like a 3-ring circus, and I don't know this to be true. So if somebody knows, like check me if I'm wrong.
Right. We're just going real off the cuff here.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's like it's exactly that. And so there'd be like the main ring, and then there would be like side rings, which are like smaller shows,
right,
that would be happening. Yeah.
And so, but they're like shows or like performances of some kind that are happening simultaneously.
I don't know. I've never been to one.
And then we're like walking around like between, like you don't have assigned seats at the circus. You just like go up into the stands,
right?
And
into like bandstands,
where you're like, oh, there's a lion tamer over here. We'll watch that.
I think that's true. But the only other one I've seen was like a Barnum and Bailey Ringley Brothers. Again, like maybe when I was like 10, and it was at the Great Western Forum. So that was that was big, and they had like elephants back when they were doing that, and like all this kind of stuff, and that obviously had assigned seating. It wasn't like a small circus. Do you have any circus experience?
I don't know. It's possible that my parents took me to a circus at some point. I think like my sort of like lasting impression of it in my mind is of there is a circus world, Tommy Bartlett's Circus World at the Wisconsin Dells, which is a sort of like family vacation, wilderness vacation place.
Who's Tommy Bartlett?
Here I'll try to walk you through it as best I can, but no, I guess I won't. Tommy Bartlett has multiple attractions at the Wisconsin Dells that are just like they're weird little like history exhibits.
Okay.
So like they're part museum, but like also kind of part interactive. I remember going to Circus World and Tommy Bartlett's Robot World, which had like robots and stuff.
Oh, he's kind of like Ripley, like Ripley's Believe It or Not.
He's kind of like a Ripley,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I can't tell if my like memories or my thoughts of like what going to a circus would be like are from going to a circus or from just seeing Tommy Bartlett's Robot World. Or,
Robot World, yeah.
Robot World's obviously the better place than Circus World.
Well, I mean, not to dwell on this too much longer, because I know 433 ended, but the circus, even when we were growing up, was like an institution from like 30 years ago, right? 30, 40 years ago. And so I was trying to do the exercise like, what is our circus? What is our thing?
Gotcha.
That was like we would be writing children's books about, or children's books were popular about in like the 90s. The children today would be like, I'm aware of it because it's in my media, but it's not really part of my life.
Yeah.
Yahoo?
Democracy? All right. I closed the window so I don't know who is accompanying us, and we're way past the applause here. So, Mark, let's get out of 433 and into the news.
Okay, don't be alarmed, but depending on when you're listening to this, a Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave Direct could be happening to you right now.
Or it could have already happened.
Yeah, that's right.
You may have missed it.
Yeah.
So don't be alarmed about that either.
Check your home to see if a Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave Direct has already happened to you.
And if you need to call someone, like do that, they can walk through the house with you. They can look into the common places where there might be evidence that a Fire Emblem Direct has indeed happened in your home.
That's right. Because
we're talking under cabinets, behind doors, between the washing machine and dryer in your home.
Yeah. All good places to check to see if a Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave Direct has happened to you, because this morning, today, at 7 a.m. Pacific time, there's a 20-minute presentation all about Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave.
Great.
Yeah, I am actually really excited for this because I feel like there's so much about the game that we don't know yet.
Yeah, and because it is, and this is just kind of like my thinking on it, because it is part of the greater canon of the Three Houses game, and takes place in Foldland. It has like the same church sort of at the heart of it. I am expecting this game to be like formally interesting, like the form of this game to be interesting. And what they've described in the previous Nintendo Direct is that there's like an arena, like gladiatorial games, and then you have time between the games to do other things, to go out into the world. And I don't know what that means. I don't really understand how a like gladiatorial fight is like going to be represented within Fire Emblem.
Right.
You know?
Completely. That's why I'm really interested for this. We don't need to dwell on it too much because, like we said, a lot of these questions are probably already answered by this presentation. So we'll, of course, be covering all of the news from it next week. But, yeah,
20 minutes should be enough to give us a like solid picture of what this game is going to be like. Probably introduce us to a bunch of the characters we've seen, for like the sort of four main, which like were maybe all like you picked the one to follow
seemingly.
Yeah, I mean, again, stuff we're gonna learn by the
I will say for Three Houses, I didn't get excited for that game until the Treehouse Live that they did after E3 2019, where they were like streaming and you saw the school stuff and all of that, because that's really what set that game apart from a traditional Fire Emblem to me. And so I am very excited to see what the hook is for Fortune's Weave.
Yep.
We've already talked about the Virtual Boy additions to NSO Nintendo Classics, but on the same day, Nintendo also announced that Super Mario Sunshine will be joining the GameCube lineup on August 13th, so just next week.
Very exciting to get this game, which both you and I and many of the people listening to the show probably already have access to on their Super Mario 3D All Stars.
Yeah, that's right.
But nonetheless, it is one of the promised GameCube games that hadn't been released yet.
Perfect for summer.
Perfect for summer. We're still
With its like tropical beach setting.
Yes. We're still waiting on Pokemon Coliseum. That is now the last GameCube game that was part of the initial lineup. Mark, if you had to guess what the interval was between the last GameCube game that came to NSO and this Super Mario Sunshine, which, as you say, comes out next week, what do you think that interval is?
Oh, I honestly can't remember if we had a GameCube game after the like Pokemon ones on Pokemon Day.
Yeah, so well, it was just sort of touched on Pokemon Day. It came out a little bit later because of course Pokemon Day is
February 27th.
So Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness came out on March 17th.
So was that the last one?
That's the last one.
Okay, so it's been like 5 months.
It's been 5 months since the last GameCube game. Obviously, they really slowed down on this. I flagged this a couple weeks ago of like, it has been this many days since our last GameCube game. 5 months. This makes it the third GameCube game that we're getting this year. So not because the year started off with Fire Emblem Path of Radiance January 9th. And then Gale of Darkness in March, and now Mario Sunshine in August. Maybe that means there's room for Pokemon Coliseum to come out towards the end of the year.
Sure, roughly a quarter. I mean, they didn't do that at the beginning of the year, but
yeah, right. But yeah, who knows? It's last year we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 games last year. Would be a little bit of a bummer if we only got 4 this year, but
I do feel like that's the way of these libraries, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Virtual Boy, I guess, notwithstanding, but they like to start quickly, and then eventually it just kind of
slows to a crawl,
tapers off. Yeah.
But I mean, like this is pretty extreme example, right? Because like they don't even start putting them out until June last year, right? Because that's when Switch 2 launches. So over the course of 7 months, we got 7 games. Now over the course of 12 months, we'll get 4 games. We think, possibly more, but
yeah. Because I have access to the 3D All Stars version, which they didn't make a ton of changes, but is widescreen and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the version I would go back to because it makes the game is always going to be Super Mario Sunshine, right?
Yes.
There's always going to be a certain amount of jank, like a little bit lack of polish, especially with like the camera and stuff like that. But I do think that having it in a widescreen helps mitigate some of those issues, and some of the shines are a little bit easier, a little more fixed because of just the greater graphical fidelity.
Do we know if because obviously we have GameCube controllers now, right? Do we know if the NSO GameCube controllers, the like analog triggers of them worked the way they were supposed to with the 3D All Stars version of Mario Sunshine?
I don't know.
Because that is one of the things that made playing Sunshine a little bit strange on Switch before, was that like the triggers they're analog, right? They're on or they're off.
Right. So you would use 2 different buttons to trigger the 2 different, like you use R and like LR or L and LZ or LR. Whatever.
You know what
I mean.
The bumper and the trigger, right?
Yeah.
And I said analog. I guess I meant like digital. I guess I meant digital, right?
No, they are analog.
No, they were digital. The game should have an analog trigger that like.
That's how it worked on the original.
Yes.
GameCube.
Right.
Yes.
And I just wonder if you could use the sort of like analog trigger of the GameCube controller on the 3D All Stars version,
right?
Or if that'll still be locked now to this version, which wouldn't be widescreen. It's just this weird thing that we were talking about, like the best way to play certain games, and like will the sort of like middle steps of a lot of these games be lost to history once the Ocarina of Time remake comes out? Will we ever be able to play the 3DS version ever again? Probably not with a 3DS.
Right. But this is an opportunity for everybody to open their hearts to Piantas once again. So
Right. Yes.
we're all blessed for that.
One of your least attractive traits. There's also the ongoing question, which we can all confront: is does Flood have a soul?
Yeah. I mean, lots of reasons to be playing Super Mario Sunshine.
Exactly. Yes.
Which is always true, but especially true when it releases on NSO next week.
Do you have any hopes for upcoming GameCube games on NSO? Is there anything that you feel like we're missing there? Obviously, like the Zelda games, but I guess it's only the one Zelda game.
I don't think this is likely at all, but I am always hoping for the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I'm hoping for Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I'm hoping
it would be such a good spot for Twin Snakes, right?
Right, because
they're not putting it on. They're not putting that game on the Metal Gear collections,
right? I'm blanking.
Geist.
Yes. Geist, Eternal Darkness.
Yes.
That's the sort of thing that I would love to see on here.
For all of those, they would need a GameCube M Plus app. So.
Right.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen hide nor hair of any of that. And honestly, now that we've wrapped up the GameCube or the Virtual Boy, that's kind of a good okay, here's the next thing is the mature GameCube games.
Yeah, I mean, but those are the types of things that I would love to see but I think maybe licensing, maybe shame in the in the case of Geist,
sure.
But that's the sort of thing that immediately jumps to mind. I mean, obviously, they haven't put any of the Smash Brothers on
That's
NSO,
correct.
right?
Right.
So I don't expect Brawl to show up, but
Melee, right?
Oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Melee. But yeah. So that kind of stuff.
Eternal Darkness and Geist those are both first party games, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo published.
Yeah.
Upcoming Switch. What about you? Sorry. What about you? Is there?
No. I mean, I think we covered it. Obviously, it would be nice if we could get Smash through there, but yeah, I don't know. GameCube was in a lot of ways the generation that I kind of missed. And we can already play the Pikmin 1 and 2 on Switch. So I think they've kind of picked up a lot of it already.
Yeah, some of the GameCube stuff that I have nostalgia for is stuff that will never, I guess never say never, because Quest for Camelot is on Game Boy Color.
Sure is.
But it's licensed games that I played in that era that I have strong memories of, and that Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. It's probably not a good game, but
right.
It would be fun to revisit it.
Exactly, and if they were to put Enter the Matrix on the GameCube NSO, I would be there too. What about Mario Superstar Baseball? That's a GameCube game that should show up, right?
I never played it. That'd be fun. Yeah,
it's a cool. They didn't make too many of these baseball games, but they did make that one. So
and then wouldn't the first Super Mario Strikers be could show up as well, because that's a GameCube game, right?
Here's the thing, it did in July last year.
Ooh.
I thought that was true, but I was like, I gotta pull up the spreadsheet just to verify. It is already there.
I mean, perfect example of I'd love to have the thing, but don't play the thing right. We should probably just move on before I embarrass myself more.
It exactly 1 year ago.
And let me guess. Super Mario Strikers isn't holding a gun; it's holding a hatchet.
It is in fact holding a hatchet. Also, July, not August. So it was 13 months ago.
Oh, phew.
So
phew.
Mm-hmm.
Upcoming Switch 2 exclusive co-op platformer Orbitals announced support for a Global Friends Pass app.
Games are so cool that you can say something like Switch 2 exclusive co-op platformer, and I'm just like, yep, I know exactly what all of that means.
Yep. Exclusive or co-op platformer Orbitals, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 system, has announced support for a Global Friends Pass app that will make it easier to play the game with some, for someone who doesn't own a copy.
Right, or to play along with someone who does own a copy.
Yes.
Now, Mark, you ask yourself, how's this different from GameShare?
Yeah, so the big difference with GameShare is that through this app, the person who doesn't own the game would be able to play it essentially locally instead of streaming it from somebody's Switch 2.
Right. So you're doing the actual processing on your Switch and not just running it off of someone else's.
So for this to work, it only works for online play, and both people have to have Switch 2s. Player 1 would own Orbitals, and Player 2 would download the Global Friends Pass app to play. And like we mentioned, differs from online game share in that Player 2 gets the game locally rather than streaming it from Player 1. The app will be available on launch day, which is September 3rd, and will also include a free demo so you can try the first chapter of the game. And then a Nintendo Switch Online subscription will still be required to play the game, even through the app. So yeah, there's lots of different ways that you're able to play this. This is a co-op exclusive game.
It must be played in co-op, yes.
Yeah, so you can do online game share, one Switch 2 to another Switch 2. You can do online play with like the Global Friends Pass, again, Switch 2 to Switch 2. Local co-op, where you're playing together on a single Switch 2, and then local game share, where Player 1 owns Orbitals. Player 2 could have any Nintendo Switch console,
including Switch 1s.
Yep. And they'd be able to like stream via game share that way.
So lots and lots of different ways to play these games together. I think this is pretty consistent with like It Takes Two, right? Like that has a similar like
and in fact, I think it's called the same exact thing. Maybe the same publisher is doing both or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Could be. It is also just like, you know, the way to manage one of these must be played in co-op kind of games. I'm excited for this game. I know you and I are historically bad at playing games together, but I would like to play this game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we should make a point of it.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Patrick and I are shaking hands. Capcom wants to eventually release a new Resident Evil title every year, with remakes helping them get there.
Resident Evil Hatchet.
In an interview with Game Informer, producer Masachika Kawada said, quote, "Being able to revisit older games and remake them helps Capcom meet that goal of releasing a Resident Evil title each year. But it also allows the team to continually challenge themselves and hone their craft. That's not to say the remakes are any less important. In fact, they're just as important as the mainline titles."
Sure.
Obviously, they've had a lot of success, critically and commercially, with the Resident Evil remakes. But what about spin-offs? There was a time where that was what Capcom was pursuing.
Well, and we put out a whole episode about the various Resident Evil spin-offs that have been out there. And kind of in the more recent years, the spin-offs have been a lot more along the lines of like multiplayer, like squad-based shooter kind of experiences that are like somehow tacked on to the release of a like more mainline game, or at least like running concurrently with them, that then routinely just get shut down.
So about spin-offs, Kawada says, quote, "Maybe there are a lot of people out there who would like to see more spin-off titles or such, but honestly, the team is giving everything it has right now, working on things like our new entries like Requiem or remakes."
I gotta say, this is good, right? Like there are some like games and franchises where like spin-offs are interesting, and I want to see like what else they can do with the characters or the world. And like with Resident Evil, there's just like a gameplay feel, a thing that I want to be like at the core of all my experiences with them. And when they become like first-person shooters or like, you know, weird online only experiences, that it just doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game to me.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if the Capcom, I'd be interested in the Capcom of this era,
yes,
taking a shot at a Resident Evil spinoff.
Good point.
Because I feel like those, like the shooters and all the, like the multiplayer tactical ones, like all of that squad based, were coming in like a really like
Dead Aim, or the, is that what they were called? The Resident Evil Survivor, Gun Survivor is the
right,
what
but those were from like the PS.
Starts on
like
PS1 and then PS2 for a lot of them, but then also the light gun games on Wii, the Umbrella Chronicles and the other one.
Dark Side Chronicles.
Dark Side Chronicles, yes.
But they're running out of games to remake, right? Like
we still have the original.
That's right. They could revisit it again in the style of like a Resident Evil 2 remake.
Right. And we still have Zero. So like that's if they're doing every other year remake new game, that buys them another, you know, little bit. But then then we run out.
then I mean, you
Although
still
they
have
do, like,
5.
Outbreak.
You still have 6.
Yeah.
That haven't been touched. But it just seems like pretty quickly they're going to run out of Resident Evil titles to remake.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely
But you name some, it's like, oh well, they at least have at least another half decade
true. Right. Yeah.
before they have to confront that problem. But with games and game development, that's really not that long.
No, it's true. Well, and just with the cruel passage of time that doesn't seem to be slowing down. Again, it's already Splatoon month.
Yeah.
It's I think this is so smart for Capcom. Not to be like rooting for a big company or whatever, but I think it's so cool that like every time they put out a new Resident Evil game, it has the like knock-on effect of there being this sort of like critical mass of people hearing about the Resident Evil games being good, picking up the new one, enjoying it, and then being like, whoa, I should go back and check out all these other games that have been getting great reviews.
A rising tide lifts all zombie corpses.
It totally
right?
does, yes.
I know that this
Although
is
sometimes you need to go back and get the crank out of the box and like use that to raise the tide. But
sure, yeah, sometimes.
Right.
Cranking crank raises all
Cranking crank raises all tides.
zombie
Sure.
corpses.
And sometimes boxes to walk over.
I know that this is like Eternal Darkness showing up on Nintendo Classics, or Geist, just not going to happen.
Right. I think that
But
could happen.
spare a little time for Dino Crisis.
Yes.
Let's remake the first Dino Crisis. Give
Yeah.
it a shot. What do you have to lose at this point?
Well, this Dino Crisis is such an interesting case because that first game is so interesting. It has this like very cool branching narrative gameplay mechanic, and feels a lot more like a Resident Evil with dinosaurs. And then like from there, they just become like more actiony and just like more kind of detached from what made like the survival horror games interesting. So if they were to remake Dino Crisis 1, then like whatever they do from there has got to be like invention, because I don't think there's any nostalgia for Dino Crisis 2 or 3.
I mean, I think that's a big problem, and I think that's a great point. And I think the other problem, just realistically, is Dino Crisis is such a dead franchise. Right, has been dead for so long. The Dino Crisis 3 was released still on the Xbox, or was it like the Xbox 360? Do you know what I mean? It's been over 15 years, over a decade, maybe 20 years since the last Dino Crisis game. I just don't think it's a franchise. There are people who still remember it and are like, Dino Crisis would be cool, but it's so old Capcom that this is true. I just don't.
It is.
I don't realistically see why they would bring it back.
But also, they are allegedly still making another Okami game.
Right.
There's a new Onimusha that's coming out this year, and I know that they're not quite identical, as there have been a couple Onimushas, but there hasn't been a new Okami game. They keep releasing the same one.
No, I mean that's true. That's a good point.
But I don't know. The both Capcom and Square Enix have these long histories of putting out games that are of different levels of intriguing in their nostalgia, but probably not I would love if Square Enix would do a Parasite Eve remake, but and that's a turn-based horror, it's borrowing from Resident Evil, but it's still very much a Square RPG from the PlayStation era. That I'm just there is no audience for that. But they keep putting out games where I'm there is no audience for that.
Right. Yeah. I think your point about Dino Crisis, where would you go? Right. Yeah. You would spend all this time to make one game, and then you 2 and 3 are so different. And are you going to invent whole cloth? I think that's a really compelling point, and probably the thing that would hold them back.
What they should do is they should do a Dino Crisis cross Resident Evil. Do a crossover.
That would be cool. People love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And we don't really get dinosaur games. We got that Tokyo Scramble.
Yep.
And
great pull, Mark.
And we got
just phenomenal. I'm really proud of you.
Okay, here is my I played maybe half of Tokyo Scramble.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. And my pet theory is that the reason I enjoyed it is because it's not that dissimilar to the gray segments of Resident Evil Requiem.
Oh yeah, cool.
You're just like running around trying to avoid these monsters, and you're underpowered. Sure, you have like a few devices and things that you can use against them, but otherwise it's basically the same, where you're like walking through areas trying to figure out, how do I get out of here without alerting these monsters. So maybe that's why both of those things kind of clicked for me. But anyways, we don't get very many dinosaur games. You occasionally get a Turok. You occasionally get a
well, there's like Jurassic World. There are those like park management games,
right? Paw Patrol Dino Island. That's
sure.
the joke
Paw Patrol Dino Island,
of course.
Yes. And of course, the season of Spidey and his friends, where they become dinosaurs, which we talked about briefly in our discussion of Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
That's right.
Still not clear on whether there is a like little kid version of Punisher or not.
I mean, we should just look it up.
I think there should.
We should just look it up.
We should.
Also, last week, Capcom announced their latest financial results. Resident Evil 2 Remake has sold 19.75 million copies, which we think presumably makes it now the best-selling Resident Evil game of all time. We didn't get an update for Resident Evil 5, but last quarter when they announced the results, it was at 19.01. So it seems unlikely.
Okay.
So, pretty remarkable. Resident Evil is probably stronger as a franchise than it's ever been. Resident Evil Requiem has sold over 8 million copies. And Pragmata has sold a little over 2.5 million, which Capcom seems to be really happy with. They commented that the likelihood of a sequel is high.
Okay, so while there is a Venom in Spidey and His Amazing Friends, there is not a Punisher.
Okay.
There are a lot of people theorizing what would that be like online, but it turns out it is not actually a thing that exists.
Mm-hmm. Back in 2017, Maniac Mansion co-creators Ron Gilbert and Gary Winnick released a new point-and-click adventure title, Thimbleweed Park. This was one of the first games that I played on Switch.
Yep.
Last week, they revealed a sequel is in the works for 2028. Right now, it's just announced for PC, but it did well on Switch, so hopefully we'll see it announced for Switch 2 sometime in the future.
Yeah. Remind me your experience with Thimbleweed Park.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it is a classic pixel art point and click adventure game. You can't die, like you can't fail.
Yeah.
You can't get stuck or anything like that. It has like a clown character. Your two detectives kind of have like a Scully and Mulder thing going on that are like sent to investigate a murder in this like weird small town. You bounce between the point of views of different characters, and they each have their own stories and personalities and all of that.
It seems like maybe a little bit of a Twin Peaks vibe to it too.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in playing a sequel if it releases on Switch. Finally, we're still eagerly anticipating more details on this year's Ocarina of Time remake. I'm guessing September is when we'll get that blowout. But
yeah, I would think so. That like the next Nintendo Direct, which traditionally there is one like the second week in September.
Yeah, it's usually like right before TGS or Tokyo Game Show or something like that.
It is frequently the 13th specifically.
Oh, okay.
I did a little investigating recently. The 13th for us this year would be a Sunday, so I don't think it'll be there. But I think it's possible that we're looking at like the 15th or 16th.
Okay.
For the Direct, which would be a Tuesday or Wednesday.
So I think that's when we'll get more details. But thanks to an update to the game listing on Nintendo's website, what we do have is an official rating for the game. E10 plus for animated blood and fantasy violence.
This is, of course, the ESRB rating.
That's right.
In North America.
And this is the same rating the 3DS remake received, although that included a call out for suggestive themes.
Okay, so what do you think in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time qualifies as suggestive themes?
I have no idea, because what does that even... I've been watching Futurama, and the... when you're streaming it, like in the corner, they show as like an overlay, like some like content warning things. And the ones for Futurama are so funny. They're like extreme suggestive content or like very harsh language, which is so funny because I don't think
not very harsh.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, like how many What do you think is the ceiling for the number of robot hookers you can show on screen before it triggers the
that goes from
very suggestive
from
themes,
suggestive themes to extreme
Yeah.
or whatever. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what would be considered. What does the ESRB consider to be a suggestive theme?
Yeah, like is that just because like in my mind that is sexual in nature, right?
Right.
Like that's what a suggestive theme. Like I don't think suggesting the existential dread of like the re-deads that like scream at you and freeze you. I don't think that counts as that's suggesting something, but
Right.
I don't think that's what they have in mind. I think so. Like maybe the great fairies in the fountains that they're like naked but wearing like moss.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that. Maybe Princess Ruto having the hots for Link.
Oh, maybe.
As you carry her around Lord
Yeah.
Jabba Jabba's belly. I don't know, like the Gerudo. I don't know.
I don't really know either. I mean, also just the original release was E because
Sure.
E10 Plus didn't exist until 2005. So before the game or after the original released. This is all just trivia. It doesn't matter at all in any way. But it's just
right, and it's makes it wholly impossible for us to like. We're so hungry for details about this game.
I think also it's just kind of interesting in the same way where you're like, movie ratings seem so arbitrary.
Right. Yes.
That in the same way, I'm sure there's some of that with video game ratings as well.
Yeah, well, because a lot of the stuff that gets like shown to the ESRB is self-reported, right? Like
I think that's entirely
has
how
to
it
be.
is. They cut a sizzle reel of the worst stuff in the game, basically, is I think how.
Right.
And then somebody watches that, or a group. I don't know exactly if it's like a committee or a single person assigned to each game.
Can you imagine being like part of the team at Nintendo is like, okay, guys, we gotta take all the naughty stuff we did in the Zelda game.
Exactly. Yeah. All the suggestive themes.
All the suggestive themes.
Yeah.
What do you think that means? I don't know.
Finally.
A double finally.
Splatoon Raiders themed Maximus Cup kicks off on Friday, and Tetris 99 runs through next Monday, as is the fashion with Splatoon Raiders.
Nope.
No. As is the fashion with Tetris 99 Maximus Cups. You earn 100 points, and then you're able to keep the theme for your very own.
So, was it last week, maybe 2 weeks ago? I was getting a little like possibly doom and gloom about the fact that the event that is still ongoing, right? That you can purchase any themes that you may have missed from previous Tetris Maximus Cups for the low price of 2 tickets. You are capable of earning up to 4 tickets per day. And I was like, I saw that as like a fire sale, as in everything must go. They're trying to get as much engagement out of this thing they can before they shut off the lights forever. But now here's another Tetris Maximus Cup, which kind of spits in the face of that idea. Also, do you think you could just wait until this event is over and buy the theme for 2 tickets?
Sure, in like 8 years.
No, I mean now.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember when that event ends. But also, it's not every theme; it's just select themes.
Oh,
and I would
okay.
guess that this would be one that is not
yes,
selected.
excluded.
Yes.
So yeah, we will be all of us tuning in to Tetris 99 this weekend. All right, Mark, that's the news. Let's close this out. That is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Join the Discord if you're not there already. Email us. We'll send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.